This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along. Well,
and welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio here, coming to you on this Monday, October 28th. Hope your weekend went well. It certainly did for Indiana football fans. Without doubt, the Hoosiers, a gigantic win over the weekend over Nebraska. We'll be talking a lot about that on the show today. Of course, the voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, who called that game. I'm so looking forward to talking to Don about that big win. I would love to have gotten to hear that. Fortunately, I was there in the press box, but I did not get to hear Don's call, of course, and would love to hear that. That had to be some great moments in that. Also on the program today, Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier. We'll, of course, be talking about the win with him as well, but we'll also talk about the big news on the basketball side. Dawson Garcia, the big 5-star 6'11 recruit out of Minnesota, was in town over the weekend for a visit to the Indiana campus. Archie Miller, of course, had Mr. Garcia in, and we'll all have to wait and see now how that turned out, of course. You're going to hear, I'm sure in a few days, you'll have the post-visit interviews with talking about how great it went and this and that. So, but the commitment, that's all anybody really cares about. When's that coming? And unfortunately, I don't think you're going to have to wait too awfully long, because he has stated that he wants to do this for the early signing periods, which is in mid-November. So it won't be that long before we'll find out. But I tell you, if he does not take a subsequent visit to Marquette, I think Indiana is in very, very good shape with Dawson Garcia. And that's not anything that somebody's telling me, but just reading the tea leaves. But you never can tell, so it doesn't matter to prognosticate. We'll just wait for it to happen, and we'll know for sure that way. But I'm sure there'll be news trickling out over the next few days. We'll be talking to Mike Schumann later on, and then Nick Baumgartner being on tomorrow. We'll talk to Nick to see if he's got anything up on that trail as well. So a lot to get to today. Of course, the biggest story, man, oh man, what a game in Lincoln, Nebraska. I got to tell you, that stadium is awesome. It has to be the most intimate big stadium I've ever been in. I've been to the Big House, to Columbus, but it was just a really, really nice stadium the way it's set up. Very intimate, although it has 90,000 people there. The people there in Nebraska were all incredible. Their fans were incredibly nice. Every one of them was welcoming, good luck. There was no animosity. It was just fun competition. But boy, every time an Indiana player went down injured, they sure let them know it. They booed every player that went down, because they viewed that as Indiana trying to slow their tempo, which is what you used to see against Indiana when Kevin Wilson was here. That very thing would happen. Unfortunately, I'd venture to say most of those were real injuries. I mean, you can tell some of these guys, they're having to be helped off. Thomas Allen, his shoulder, it looked like it was falling off of his body. Not literally, but you could tell. And then some of them, I don't know. But even if they do get hurt, they have to lay down. That's the only option they have. You can't get off the field in time. But what a great game. Man, oh man. The big question going into the game was, Michael Penix going to start? Was he going to be back, or is he going to be Peyton Ramsey? And I said it numerous times beforehand. To me, it didn't matter who the quarterback was in this game. The key to this game was going to be Indiana's defense. I said that all day, leading up to the game, and that was exactly the case. And man, oh man, it did not look good early as Indiana got into a 14-3 hole as they allowed 2 quick scores by Nebraska, who was going with their own backup quarterback, who would go down in that game and then be replaced by the third-string quarterback, who is Luke McCaffrey. You've heard of his name before, Christian's brother. Ed's son, the McCaffrey family. But so they had a lot of attrition as well. But, man, they were just running and throwing all over Indiana. They ended up piling up 500 yards offense, which has to be a concern to Indiana. I mean, the win is great. The win is incredible. We're going to talk about the win all day. But, man, that defense has to be looked at. You cannot give up 500 yards to a team like Nebraska. I mean, they're okay, but they're not as good as you are. So you can get away with that against lesser teams. You can just outpoint them. But that's kind of going back to the Kevin Wilson days, man. To me, it wasn't fun winning 52-50. I mean, it's fun for an exciting game as long as you're winning, but you're not always on the winning side like that. So they're going to have to get this defense back in order. They just too many penalties and just, wow, too many big plays they gave up. But on the other side of the scope, man, how about Peyton Ramsey? Wow, what a great job he did. Tremendous performance. Career day, 352 yards passing. Let's get the stats pulled up here. Whop Phillier also, man, what a gigantic day for him. But, yeah, Peyton Ramsey, 27 of 40 for 351 yards, 2 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 152. That's a little less accurate than he normally is, but they were pushing his arm. They were throwing some deep balls and really getting with it. So, man, that's a great, unbelievable performance. And it wasn't just that. After the game, in the post press conference, someone asked him about that play where he scrambled toward the end to get that crucial first down. Something about Whop Phillier was open, and but he said that I saw Whop was maybe open, but I knew that I could probably get it on a run. If I could, we could keep the clock going. Man, that was impressive that in the midst of all that, he had the presence of mind to think that, to realize, hey, I can keep the clock going. That's leadership right there. And, wow, what a job he did in securing the biggest win in the Tom Allen era. I had another friend today mention, man, is there a quarterback controversy now? And I just kind of laughed, and it's almost a shame. It is a shame, I guess, for Peyton Ramsey because he's such a great kid, a super good player. He's not as good as Michael Penix, and doesn't make any Peyton Ramsey any lesser. It's just a fact. Michael Penix is just a slightly better quarterback. So to me, there's no quarterback controversy. It's just it stinks that a kid like that doesn't get to play, but he's played pretty much a lot this season though so far. Man, it's been a crazy football season for this team. I mean, on one hand, I did say that I thought they were going to win 7 or 8 games this year. And some people thought I was crazy, but I believed in this offense. I knew this offense was going to be prolific. They just had the right pieces, and Kalen DeBoer just brought it all together. Big question mark on the defense, and that's still a big question mark. But, man, what I saw when I was up at East Lansing, right then I knew, no, this team's going to be okay. That Ohio State game scared a lot of us. It was early on, and they hadn't done that to anybody else like that, really. They just beat the snot out of Indiana. It's just scared a lot of people. But it didn't take long to realize, that's not the case. That was an anomaly. Not only you saw Indiana play better, but you also saw Ohio State doing that to everybody else, too. But, yeah, the game at East Lansing, I knew. I'm like, ooh, okay, no, this team's for real. But then the defense was a worry. It's still a worry. That's the scariest part because we're too late into the season for that to be the case. You can't be giving up 500 yards to a mid-level team like Nebraska. Not if you want to compete and try to beat Michigans and Penn States. It's just, you can't do that. So hopefully they can get that shored up. But offensively, Juggernaut, man. You can't stop this team. What a job this offensive line has done. Oh, my gosh. Simon Stepanak didn't play Saturday. That's 2 starters they're down right there with Coy Crunk gone. That's unbelievable. They're filling in with freshmen. Indiana has allowed the least sacks in the Big Ten, 11. How about that? 11 sacks. That is the least in the Big Ten. That is why Indiana is so successful offensively. They're giving Peyton Ramsey and Michael Penix the time they need. Penix doesn't need much. He's got a quick release. He gets rid of it. But they gave Peyton Ramsey all the time he needed to throw that ball Saturday. And it was a thing of beauty. Man, he threw some nice balls. Without a doubt, the best game of his career. He threw some nice balls. He threw another one to Nick Westbrook that was dropped, a touchdown that should have been caught. I'll be honest with you. That ball should have been caught. It was a beautiful ball. It put it where only Nick could get to it. He threw some super nice balls. Man, yeah, he looked really good. He did. He looked really good. He doesn't have the true deep threat, but man, you can almost get away with it. He's throwing a little bit further this year than he did last year. I can't see that. I think that maybe Kalen DeBoer has given confidence to all these guys. But what a game plan too by Kalen DeBoer, man. Holy cow! So man, it's an exciting times coming, and I look forward to talking to Don Fischer up here next about that. I cannot wait. Like I said, I really wish I could have heard his call of game. Mike Schumann's on the show with us today as well. We're going to try to squeeze in some talk about Dawson Garcia. I know that's a lot of people are wanting to know, but there's really not a lot to know about that situation. Usually there usually isn't with those types of visits. So we'll see what we can find out, though. Looking forward to doing that. But, man, how about that win? How about them Hoosiers? We got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Hope you stay with us. We'll be back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Ryan Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Cole.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
But she didn't give me no sign.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Monday, October 28th, and could not have a better person on board today than the voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer. Don, anything happen over the weekend, exciting, or anything we should talk about?
Nah, it was pretty blah. No, obviously a terrific win for this Indiana football program, and without doubt, to win a third straight ball game in the month of October, and put yourself in a bowl eligible position for the first time at this time of year since back in 2007, or actually, back in 2000, or actually 1993 was the last time they were in this position. So it's been a long time, but nevertheless, this team has something to look forward to with the bowl situation coming up. But more than that, they have now put themselves at 6-2 and 3-2 in the league, in a great position to finish much better than anybody anticipated at the beginning of this season. So I think it's really, really something for our fan base to enjoy.
Yeah, and it's something that I think that people have been listening to for a couple of years, but they, because of what's gone on in the past, I don't know that they quite believe. But man, there is definitely a change in culture going on under Tom Allen. He talked about it in the post-game press conference that he's going to get on the phone and call some recruits and ask them, "Did you watch the game? Do you see what we're doing here in Indiana?" Yeah, what a great win for that program overall. But this team is for real, and people better recognize that.
Well, I think the key here is to understand that Indiana's schedule this year has played out in their favor in the sense of who they're playing and when they're playing them. This team lost to an Ohio State team that's the best team in this league without question on either division side, and they lost big in that ball game. But aside from that contest, their other loss was to a Michigan State team that is very respectable and obviously has one of the better defenses, and Indiana hung with them and actually made a couple of mistakes defensively in that ball game that kind of cost them a victory there. They could be a one-win or one-loss team right now rather than a two-loss team. Well, let's face facts here. Indiana is 6-2 in October for the first time since, 1993.
Yeah.
So this ball club right now, when you look at what they've accomplished, they have done what they're supposed to do, and they've done it despite injuries to an offensive line that didn't have a lot of depth going into the start of the season, and they've done it with quarterback issues because of injuries to the starter, Michael Penix. And the guy who has helped this team and the MVP of this ball club right now, without question, is Peyton Ramsey, a redshirt junior who has just been spectacular coming off the bench this year, and then in a starting role as well, like he did on Saturday against Nebraska because Penix couldn't go. So let's just face facts. The reason this team is as successful this season as they have been is because of Peyton Ramsey.
There's no doubt about that, and it would be kind of ironic at the end of the season if he ended up being the most valuable player from a backup position. But yeah, what he's done for this team has kept them there, and we've got to give a huge shout out to this offensive line. They've given up the least sacks in the Big Ten up to this point right now. They only have given up 11, which is the least in the Big Ten. That's major. We saw that Saturday in Lincoln as Peyton had the time he needed to throw, and he had a career day with 350 plus yards passing.
Yeah, there's no question, and part of that for the offensive line, and they have done a terrific job of pass blocking. There's no doubt about that. That's been their strength, no question. The run game has been suspect, obviously, throughout a good portion of the season, even though last week and the week before they actually had their two best run games of the year. But the rest of the time, the run game has not been spectacular, but the passing game has been. And much of that credit has to go to the offensive coordinator, Kalen DeBoer, who I think has been, without doubt, Tom Allen's best recruit from last year. Because Kalen DeBoer has come on board. He has taken over this offense. He's got these guys to understand that he can play call like nobody else maybe in the country, the way he has gone about his business this season. This guy is spectacular. And when you look at the Indiana game plan and how they've executed that game plan, it has been so interesting to see and so much fun to watch just from a fan perspective, because this team probably shouldn't be doing what they're doing considering the injury issues they've had on offense and considering the fact that this is a first-year coordinator where normally first-year guys do okay, but they don't turn things around like this guy has with an offense that struggled a little bit last season because they just couldn't do some of the things that this team is doing. So I look at it from that perspective. I just think it's a combination of things. It's number one, you've got two quarterbacks who can flat play. You've got an offensive coordinator who has just been spectacular with his play calling and putting together game plans that can compete against the defenses that they're going up against. And then you've got a defense that has started to step up at crunch time at least and play the kind of defense that Tom Allen wants them to play and makes big plays and takeaways and those kinds of things at the end of ball games. I don't think this defense has played up to expectations this year. I think I can say that with some confidence, but at the same time, they are starting to make plays and being a factor in the ball game. And without doubt, that's critical, especially at this time of year.
Yeah, the defense has not done exactly what they needed, but the one thing that they have done in the last couple of games, at least, they played much better in the second half of both of those games, which it turned out would be leading to help win those games, especially when they shut Nebraska down on that last drive. And then Indiana got the first downs that they needed to get to sustain that win and keep it. And to do that on the road, you've been doing this for a while, Don. Where would you put this win because of where it was and when it's coming? This is as big a win as I can remember in quite a while for this Indiana football program.
Well, I think because of when you went, if any, the fans that didn't get a chance to go to the game, and obviously most fans did not or were not in Lincoln for this contest, but when you go to that stadium and you recognize that this is their 373rd sellout consecutive, so that's back in the 60s when they started doing this. You had almost 90,000 fans in the stands for this ball game. It is one of the loudest venues I've ever been in. And so to go in there and do what Indiana did in that kind of atmosphere that's negative for them, it was just, in many respects, something that is very special. And there's no doubt Nebraska is not what they used to be. They are going to get there because you can just see they've got the tools. They're just young, like Indiana is in many respects, and they've got some quarterbacks that are pretty good. When your starter who went into the season as a Heisman Trophy candidate possibility and has his injury issues thus far, and he hasn't had a great season. And then you've got a backup quarterback who started last week and helped Nebraska, and 2 weeks ago, I should say, got a start against Minnesota. They played poorly, but the quarterback played good. He played very good against Indiana. He gets hurt, and they bring in a freshman who also plays just as effectively and plays very, very well as well. So they've got tools, and this is a good program. They're going to get better because they're in just the second year under a head coach that is well respected throughout the country. So when you consider what Indiana did in this ball game, it was special. And I don't rank games like this my favorite game of all time was in 1987 when Indiana went over to Columbus, Ohio, and knocked off the Ohio State Buckeyes with an unprecedented win at that time. Indiana hadn't won in that place forever. Back in the 50s would have been the last time they did that, and knocked off that team and won, I think it was 31-17, whatever it was. And it was just a tremendous performance. That ranks to me as the best win that Indiana's ever had since I've been doing IU football games. But this game against Nebraska was special in its own right. And to win out there in that atmosphere, to do what Indiana did, and to pick up their 6th victory this season and become bowl eligible, it was special.
Absolutely, and Tom Allen very emotional afterwards, immediately after the game, and he went over, there was a contingent of Indiana fans. The team went over there and sang the school song, but it was an emotional moment for them. But there were some things said. I think they felt disrespected by the Nebraska program. I don't know what went on there, but to a man, there was several comments made. Even Fred Glass commented on it. So they had some extra motivation, not that they needed it, going into that game.
Well, if you remember, I think last year, Scott Frost, their head coach, was asked about, because they were struggling. I think they were 1-6, and I don't know when the statement was made, and I don't know what in context it was made. But the statement was made, "Hey, we're not playing Indiana every week," something like that. And I think that's where everybody is. That's where I assume that the disrespect came from. Scott Frost made that comment. Probably regrets making it now, especially after Indiana knocked him off. But that's where I think that came from. Other than that, I don't know where the disrespect would have been, but my gut feeling is that was a statement that was made, and that resonated with Tom Allen, Fred Glass, and the rest of the program. And as well it should. When you make a statement like that, that's kind of silly. You're putting yourself in a position where you're really going to tick off the team you made it against. And I'm sure that was a little motivation that was put up in the locker room before the game, or maybe even during the entire week.
Absolutely. And what about the performance of I call him Mr. Chaos now, Super Whop Phillier? How about Whop? Another big performance, one of the biggest performances in Nebraska's Memorial Stadium's history. 14 catches, 180-plus yards, another great day by Whop.
Well, it seems that when Peyton Ramsey is the quarterback, he targets Whop Phillier more than anybody else. He had that kind of ball game. He had 2 ball games in a row like that against Michigan State, and I can't remember who after that was. But when you think about that connection, it has been special when Peyton Ramsey has been the quarterback. And I will say this too, and this is something that needs to be said. Michael Penix has been labeled the starter for this football team, and based on his performances when he's been healthy, there's all justification for him being the starter. There's just no question about that. He is a special athlete, and he has done special things when he's been healthy. But when he hasn't been, and a kid has been a starter for almost 2 years prior to this, and this kid keeps his head in the game despite not being the starter, and comes off the bench like he has, and then gets starting opportunities as well, and comes through like he has, that just tells you everything you need to know about that particular young man. So what you say in this particular situation is what? Who's going to be the starter this week? Well, if it's Michael Penix, it's because he's healthy again and can play. If it's not, it'll be Peyton Ramsey. But if Michael Penix doesn't stay healthy, you know you've got a backup that is almost as good as the guy starting the football game. And that's just that's uncommon, but at the same time, it is special. And Indiana rarely has had that scenario over the years, having 2 guys capable of being the starter. And that's a really positive thing for the program.
Absolutely, especially in football today. I mean, how virtually every team in college football has lost their starter this year. It's been a weird year where so many teams have been or are playing with backups, so the importance there cannot be overstated. Don, we also move forward. You got a basketball game tomorrow night to do, man. You got double duty going on as Indiana opens up the season with an exhibition match game against Gannon.
Yep, it's going to be interesting. The month of November has become the chaos month from a broadcast standpoint because we have, football games, basketball games, coaches' talk shows for both football and basketball. It becomes kind of busy these days in the month of November. It's kind of crazy how much the 2 sports overlap now. But we do have a basketball game coming up tomorrow night against Gannon. Gannon is a Division II school out of Erie, Pennsylvania. And there's no question the Indiana basketball fan base wants to see this Indiana ball club perform against somebody outside of themselves. Hoosier Hysteria has been their only opportunity thus far to see a public look at this ball club. and to see what Archie Miller's done with it. And there's no doubt they've had a couple of injuries that have kept guys back, but I think Devontae Green is ready to play again. I don't know about Rob Finney at this point, whether we'll see him tomorrow night or not. But the good news is this team will play against somebody outside of themselves from their perspective, because I can guarantee you they're tired of practicing against one another at this juncture. But it's going to be an opportunity for the public to get a look at this ball club against outside competition before the real season begins with Western Illinois.
Absolutely, Don. So thankful to have you on here today. Hope you have a great week. I know it's a busy day for you as well. We'll see you at the press conference later.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. The voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, with us here today on this Monday, October 28th. We'll be back with more Indiana Sports Beat right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Of course, coming to you on this Monday, October 28th. We are deep in it, man. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier joining us now. Michael, how are you?
Doing great, Jim. How are you doing?
Tired, brother. I'll be honest with you. Just got back from a long trip to Lincoln, Nebraska. Very fun to be there, but it's a long haul.
A long but worthwhile haul.
Certainly for Indiana, man. What a huge win for Tom Allen and his football program. We've been talking about it, but the breakthrough. There's been a couple of years being talked about, and man, they've been close. And while this is not a Michigan or an Ohio State that's good, it's Nebraska, and it's an iconic program. It's on the road. It's just so many things that go with this, man. The bowl eligibility, just all kinds of stuff that makes it such a humongous win, and obviously a very emotional one for Tom Allen.
Yeah, I mean, that latter point there, that was really neat to see. You could see a lot of pain and suffering over the last 2+ years coming out with that moment. You know, whether you want to call it a breakthrough or not, because of the caliber of the opponent, it was clearly a breakthrough in his mind, and everything kind of just poured out there, and it was completely understandable. I mean, to reach bowl eligibility with still 4 games remaining is, I don't think, something that anyone could have imagined going into this season. And you know, his reaction because of that, you know, knowing that they have, you know, things already wrapped up here before Halloween and still have a lot more that they can do. I was just going through and looking at all the different bowl possibilities for Indiana, and you know, if you start thinking about, you know, 8-9 win seasons, which, you know, is getting way ahead of ourselves, but then you're talking about an actual potential January 1st type bowl game situation. So, I mean, there's a lot more that this team can do, and now it's going to shift from, you know, just kind of getting that breakthrough win to actually handling the success and not losing focus.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you.
With 4 games to go here.
If they don't go 8-4, I think it's going to be a little disappointing. I know that sounds crazy, but, you know, I look back at the beginning of the season, and I was on record of saying this. I thought this team could win 7 or 8 games because I did. I believed that because I knew this offense was going to be prolific, and I talked about that. One thing I didn't know is this defense was going to be as porous as it's been. But, you know, the thing, even though I said that I believe that they could win 7 or 8 games, and I did believe that, when it really happens, it's still a surprise because it's Indiana.
Yeah, and I think the big surprise right now is just how quick it came. Like I said, you know, being 6-2, you know, having 4 games left, and I'll give you credit. I clearly remember you saying, you know, 7-5, 8-4, and I was sitting there thinking, man, maybe 7, but I don't think so. I think I'd be happy with 6 for this team, and just, you know, at least taking one more step. But here we are with 4 games to go, and they're already at 6. So I was way off there. And, you know, even within this season, if you think back to how things looked, you know, without the benefit of hindsight after the Ohio State game, I mean, I think we were all kind of standing there thinking, wow, this team is really kind of a mess right now. But, you know, not only does that game look different because of what Indiana's done, it looks different because Ohio State's effectively done that to everybody they've played. And so, you know, now the question is, like I said, can they play a night game against Northwestern after all that emotion, after clinching bowl eligibility, and come out and put together another strong effort? I think that's going to be really interesting to watch this week.
Yeah, that is a concern of a letdown because it was an emotional win. It's like just achieving something that you've tried to get so long, and like, wow, you get it, and how do you react? That's going to be key. They go into that game as a 12.5-point favorite. It's got to be one of the biggest favorites they've been in a Big Ten game in several years.
Yeah, I think they're. Did I see 12-point favorite maybe going into the Saturday night? Maybe one of your listeners can correct us on that. But
the 12.5. We're talking about for Northwestern. They're a 12.5-point favorite.
12.5-point favorite for Northwestern. Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the biggest spreads that they've been over a Big Ten team in a few years.
Yes, save for the Rutgers of the world, right?
Right. I think it goes back to maybe an Illinois game or something a few years ago. During the Kevin Wilson era, I believe. But for the last few years, I mean, this is huge. They were, they weren't when it kicked off Saturday in Lincoln, but there were times they were a favorite over Nebraska this week. And now then this week, of course, they're a 12.5-point favorite. But I mention that only because that shows you the confidence that Las Vegas has in this team. And they're pretty damn good at what they do.
Yeah, and even that Nebraska game obviously was very close and down to the final play. But after the 14-3 start for Nebraska, Indiana outscored them in that game 35-17. So they, once they kind of got off their heels and kind of overcame all the big crowd and the fast start from Nebraska, they were pretty strong in that game. Obviously strong enough to win, but I'd say impressive after this little start.
Well, the only bad thing is, and I'm not going to be like some fan page that does nothing but a rainbows and unicorns thing. This defense has got to get their heads out of their butts. They put Indiana in a perilous position, letting them get down 14-3 early on the road and with a crowd like that. I mean, you got to give a ton of credit to that offense and Peyton Ramsey and that line, that offensive line. Oh my gosh, we got to talk about them. But you've got to give so much credit to that offense that weathered that storm, kept battling, kept going. And in the second half, in the last 2 weeks they've done this, but the defense does a lot better job in the second half. But still, overall, I mean, I've seen a lot of people giving them these grades, and I'm like, wow, everybody's getting the defense a B, and I'm like, you're out of your mind. They're a C at best. They just – you gave up 500 yards, man, to Nebraska with a second and a third-string quarterback. So I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade here, but the reality is you got Penn State coming up. You got a Michigan coming up. Do you want to just be in those games or compete in those games? And I know the answer to that, but for Indiana to compete, this defense has got to play at a better level.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. That might have been the defense's worst game of the year when you consider what you added there with the second and then even the third-string quarterback coming into the game. I mean, that for me, that was a frustrating part of that game on Saturday is once they went to the third-string quarterback there, it was pretty clear that he wasn't going to be looking downfield, but yet they really let him run pretty freely, and I thought that was an adjustment that needed to be made that never really was. McCaffrey was his name. He kept getting big runs on the ground. It's like, why would you honor anything that he's going to do down on field? They just need to stack the box and force this guy to beat him over the top, similar to the strategy we've seen with Ramsey through the years. But that didn't happen, and yards just kept piling up, and that game was obviously close right down to the stretch. I've got a question for you, though, and I'm curious to see if anybody's going to broach this. I don't think that they will in the media. It's probably not even a fair question, but don't you feel like it at least has to be asked or considered whether or not we have any sort of...
Are you going to say
whether we have any sort of... Yeah, I mean,
I knew it.
God,
I knew it, man. I was just I had somebody bring that up to me yesterday, and I just looked at him. I'm like, no. I said, this ain't elementary school. I said, because they said the same thing that they want. Do you think Ramsey deserves the start? I'm like, deserves got nothing to do with it. This is high level sports, man. Deserves got nothing to do with it. Is he the better quarterback? No, he's a great guy, a great kid, and a hell of a backup quarterback, and a solid backup quarterback, and you can use him. And that's I had confidence in this offense with him at quarterback down there. It was the defense that I was worried about. But when you come to that question that you're asking, is there a quarterback controversy? Should they look at Peyton Ramsey starting over Micah Penix? Hell no, he's not the better quarterback. And that's to me that quickly puts that to bed, that your best option to win is still with Michael Penix because he's a better quarterback. There's a reason he's the starter in my mind.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess what I'm really asking is it even a legitimate question? I mean, should somebody ask Tom Allen that question because
they're
of
going
how
to.
well
I can tell you that. That's coming. That's coming today. Because that person that I had this conversation with, they said that's their first question. I'm not going to say who it is, but because it doesn't matter. But they plan on asking that very question today, and I had that discussion. I'm like, no, he doesn't. I said, did he become the better quarterback all of a sudden? No, he's not. Just because he does okay and did a good job, and he did a marvelous job. I give him all the props in the world. He did what he was supposed to do. But that does not make him better than Michael Penix. Just, but I also will say it does suck because he has been the consummate teammate. He's been the consummate quarterback, the leader. It's never been about him. He's never made it about him. He's been a team guy. But more importantly, he's prepared every day to be in that position, to be able to do what he did Saturday. So, man, you've got to just take your hat off and say, job well done, Peyton Ramsey.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, man, that's a kid that you can feel good about rooting for and getting behind. And I'm glad somebody's asking the question, if nothing else, because it, just furthers that point that, this guy deserves to be mentioned in that vein. But I do agree. I mean, the thing you got to really consider there is both Nebraska and Maryland do not have very good defenses. While Ramsey's performance in both games was incredibly impressive, that wasn't, a Michigan, Ohio State, or Michigan State. You think back to the way Michael Penix played against Michigan State, that was a very good defense, and he put up a game the way Ramsey did on Saturday. And that's the difference. When the windows get tighter, when you got to take the shots down the field, Penix is still the guy, and he's a better runner too. But, man, if he gets hurt, which he's shown a propensity to do, you feel probably better than most any other team does in the country about your backup.
Absolutely. Unless you were Alabama last year and you had Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa.
Almost anyone.
Yeah. How crazy is that, man? They had both those guys at the same time. That's just sick.
It's really not fair. I mean, it's along the same lines as what I mentioned earlier about the way Ohio State's beating everybody. It's like you start to think you're good, like in Indiana, kind of sneaking into the votes for the top 25, and then you think about the difference between that kind of team and the top 5 teams. There's just no comparison.
No, I mean, and even if Indiana had Michael Penix against Ohio State, there's a good look for you to see. Peyton Ramsey was in that game, and they just killed him. There's an example for you. You want to compare Michael Penix against Michigan State and Peyton Ramsey against Ohio State, which is kind of not fair because Ohio State is so much better than Michigan State. But and it wouldn't have mattered had Michael Penix been in; they still would have lost that game.
No,
But I absolutely think that Michael Penix is healthy. You go with him because he just makes you a little bit better. That's it. I mean, but it does suck for Peyton Ramsey. He's a good kid, good quarterback, and he could probably play a lot of places. I guarantee Purdue wish they had him right now. And there's probably a lot of teams that wish they had him right now. Nebraska wishes they had him right now.
Absolutely. And you almost wonder if he's going to be in an interesting position in the offseason because he's already gotten all these questions and all these stories about how he's, done the right thing and didn't go in the transfer portal and all that. But, I wouldn't blame the guy if he did during this offseason, but that would run against the picture that's been painted here in the last couple of weeks.
Plus, if he just hangs out, Michael Penix, like you said, he's shown a propensity for getting hurt. Peyton Ramsey's played more than Michael Penix has this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And
almost,
his numbers are
quite,
pretty much. His numbers are right there with him too.
Yeah, so it is a wonderful thing to have that luxury, but I don't think that there's going to be a quarterback controversy going forward. Maybe amongst people talking about it, but not in real life. But that's a great problem for Indiana to have. But like I said, their biggest issue is they got to get this defense shored up in a hurry. I don't think it should be an issue Friday or Saturday against Northwestern, but when they travel to Happy Valley against Penn State, that's a whole different story there, boys.
Yeah, that game, if Ohio State's 1, Penn State looks like 1A right now. That game could get ugly if the defense doesn't get things squared away. I mean, on both sides of the ball, Indiana's really had a problem with bad penalties. They had some really bad penalties, including 30 yards of critical penalties on one drive there on Saturday. So, the defense has really got to tighten things up, and I think it's I think a lot of it is Tom Allen's and Womack's philosophy that the swarm D they put a lot of DBs out on islands, and sometimes that backfires. If you don't get home on the quarterback, you're exposed a lot, and I think that's a big part of what's been going on.
Yeah, it's certainly not. The secondary has not played up to their hype. In the beginning of the year, we heard how great that they were. I'm not seeing it. Tywan Mullen has been a standout superstars, true freshman no less. But he's been one of the few bright spots on that secondary, I got to say.
Yeah, and I think that the way Nebraska started that game with the pace, the tempo that they used, I think you're probably going to see more of that here in the Final Four games to the extent that teams have the personnel to pull it off, because that had Indiana really back on their heels, and that defense really did not look good at all. So that's definitely something to watch out for. And I heard from a lot of Nebraska fans over the last 48 hours about complaining about the Indiana players falling down with injuries, and I know you heard plenty of boos there in the stadium associated with that.
It kind of got on my nerves, to be honest with you, because they did it the very first time it happened. So it's not like it happened 4 times and they started doing it. No, the very first guy that goes down, they're booing. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you all? Do you all think that you all have such a great up-tempo offense that's what people are doing to you? No, you don't have an offense. So, yeah, it was a little aggravating, especially when you could tell the guys were really hurt. And it was every time. They never even considered that it was a reality.
Yeah, and obviously, Indiana fans experienced that back in the Kevin Wilson days. Teams would do that from time to time. The thing that people need to understand, I'm sure you don't have a lot of Nebraska listeners on there, but if you got a guy that is legitimately hurt, maybe it's not a leg injury where he's really down on the ground, but like a shoulder, like Thomas Allen had, and it has had multiple times before Saturday, and a team is playing that kind of tempo, he really has no choice but to fall, because he doesn't have time to get off the field. He can't get himself subbed out, but he shouldn't be playing in that situation. So really, you're coached up to go down if you have an injury, even if it's not a leg injury that's forcing you down. So that's part of what's going on there. I mean, could there have been some gamesmanship there? Very well could have been, but I don't think there's really any way to know.
Nope, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day. But
nope.
But you know what? Before I forget, we got to talk about Dawson Garcia. The people are going to go crazy, although there's nothing to talk about. It's just a hurry up and wait game. I guess the only thing now is to wait for people to start making their guesses on if he's going to commit, when he's going to commit. That's something that could actually come soon, sooner rather than later, maybe. And I guarantee you, this I do know. I was out of town, so I wasn't here, but I saw plenty of people stalking him, getting pictures with him, and all that. But I think that this is going to be a quick commitment. I don't know if it's going to be to Indiana or Marquette, but I know for a fact that they pulled out all the stops when he was here. They desperately need this kid. Archie needs him for a couple of reasons. He needs him for this to be a really good recruiting class, but he needs him for a big man. We've talked about it ad nauseum that they could have an issue there 2 years from now if they can't land somebody in this class.
Yeah, he's clearly the top target. In many respects, he's the only target left in the class of 2020. I'm not aware of anyone else that they're seriously pursuing right now. Of course, if they don't land him, names could surface in the spring for guys that are still on the board. But they're literally all in on this kid, and for all the reasons that you said. I won't be completely surprised if we hear something this week. I think it's unlikely, but it's not out of the question. But the things to watch for definitively are whether or not he takes a subsequent visit here to Marquette, who most people seem to believe is the other top contender along with Indiana. And then his timeline is short. He said that he wants to announce a commitment by mid-November during the early signing period. So it's not going to be a long wait no matter what. But I think Indiana's in a really good spot.
I do too. I think they're in a really good position with him, and I think that whether or not he gets that subsequent visit will be a telltale sign on how good of a position Indiana's in. If he does not take that, I think it's a done deal that he's going to Indiana, personally.
Yeah, I mean he's been to Marquette before, but you'd think that he would at least want to go back and kind of take one more check to make sure he's doing the right thing here, But again, I think no matter what, we're going to know here in the next 3 weeks by any measure.
All right, brother. Well, we'll soon find out. I appreciate you. Anything you got coming up on the site that people need to know about?
I just went through and listed out all the different bowl games that Indiana could potentially go to. There's 10 total bowl games that they could go to, 9 of which are Big Ten aligned. So if people are curious where IU might be playing in December or January, go check it out.
I can tell you right now if you want to know.
Let's hear it.
They're going to the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville.
My prediction is the Holiday Bowl in San Diego. So we'll see who's right.
I hope it's Jacksonville only because it's closer, but I've never been to San Diego and would love to go, and I love that bowl game. That was one of my favorite bowl games growing up because the games were always close.
And I can tell you, having gone through the list, there's not too many places other than Detroit that I would be unexcited about.
The good thing is we don't have to worry about that. They're not going to any of those crap bowls. They're not going to the Quick Lane Bowl. They're not going to the Foster Farms Bowl. They're not going to make it back to the Yankee Stadium this year. And they can't go to the Music City Bowl because I think the Big Ten tie-in is not this season. So they can't go there. But I think between the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville and the Holiday Bowl, I think those are the two because of where I think Indiana's going to end up now. If they fell off the train and didn't win another game, that changes the whole deal. But I think they are definitely going to end up 8-4 minimum, and potentially 9-4, 9-3. I'm not beating Michigan is absolutely not out of the question.
It's not out of the question, although they looked pretty good against Notre Dame, and they might have turned the ship around there.
They did, and again, that defense of Indiana's, that's what scares me. That's it.
Yep.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you. Look forward to doing it again as always, and I'm sure I'll see you at the ball game tomorrow night.
All right, Jim. Have a great one.
You bet. There's Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier here on Indiana Sports Beat. We appreciate you joining us. We'll be back with more right after this.
Now who's the king of the sky? Jupiter says.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Hope you're doing well here on this Monday, October 28th. Jim Coyle with you, as always. Man, still looking back at that big win by Indiana over the weekend over Nebraska. Wow, what a big win. It was a fun time, I got to be honest with you. Being down on the field those last couple minutes, watching the clock tick off, knowing how big of a game that was, how much it meant to the team, to Tom Allen. He was so emotional. It was just raw emotion. Congratulations to those guys, man, all of them. So happy, very happy for them. Not supposed to, be like that in the media, but that's okay. In an occasion like this, they deserve it. They've worked so hard. It's just when you're around those guys as much as we are, it's hard not to root for them. It's hard not to root for Tom Allen, I can tell you that. Hey, guys, he's infectious, but what a tremendous win, and hopefully it's going to be a tremendous season like we expected. I mean, we're talking bowls, man. Where, not if, where. Before the season started, I said this team could win 7-8 games, and that hasn't changed. I think they're going to win 8 games at the minimum, and they could end up in January Florida Bowl. Gator Bowl could be out in San Diego at the Holiday Bowl. Who knows? But, man, that's just it's good to have options, right? Hey, I'm looking forward to going to a bowl game. But, hey, speaking of that, one of the most impassioned things that Tom Allen said in his post-game press conference was he wants a big crowd for this team Saturday against Northwestern. And he became very emotional about it. He just cares so much for his kids, but it would be nice to see Hoosier Nation get off their butts and get out to the stadium, man. It's embarrassing, I tell you. I just got back from Nebraska, and 90,000 people. They have the record for 373 consecutive sellouts. That goes back to the 60s, maybe 1960. 90,000 people. That's not easy to do every week. But they do it. They come here. They stay for the game. The entire stadium was full right to the end. Yeah, it was a close game. But I don't know if that would be the case in Indiana. Students leave at halftime. I hate that. Other people leave at halftime. They go out and they stay out there and don't come back in. It's a very, very poor football culture. And yeah, I know that there has not been a winning heritage, but I've seen other teams not be winners and still get support. I hate to say it, but Kentucky fans, they used to support their football team even when they stunk. But it'd be nice to see a little more support, especially this week. It's going to be a big game, man. Indiana can win 7 games. They're a favorite, 12.5-point favorite. It's going to be at night, 7 o'clock kickoff under the lights. There was a Jeremy Gray, who was with IU Athletics. I posted something that if they sell it out, I'll let Jeremy cut my hair off at the 50-yard line, which Indiana hasn't had a sellout since Ohio State in 2017 when they opened up the season on national TV with College Game Day in tow. But it would certainly be nice to see a really good turnout. Now, I will say this. I've seen a ton of people say that they're coming, say that they're going to that game. And why not? This is when you do it. You got to strike when the iron's hot. They're winning. It's a night game. All kinds of fun things to look forward to. Had the opportunity to talk to some of the participants after the game on Saturday. Peyton Ramsey, of course, was one of those. Let's hear from Peyton Ramsey, who had a career day in the win against Nebraska.
What did you guys see in Nebraska's pass defense that you were coming in that you were able to exploit, and maybe different things as the game went along?
I don't think it had anything to do with our defense. I think it just had a lot to do with our skill guys and how much we believe in them on the perimeter and inside to win one-on-one matchups. And I think that's what it came down to. We had a really good game plan, really good week of prep for it. And like I said, it's just all the credit to our guys.
What about the protection you got all day?
I mean, I was clean all day long. I mean, they did a great job stepping up. They've been playing well all year long, and just playing behind those guys has given me a lot more confidence. For sure.
Peyton, what's it mean for you guys to get a road win in a traditional venue like this and get bowl eligibility on the 8 games?
Yeah, I mean, I think all week long that the whole bowl eligibility thing wasn't even really a thought process. It was just coming into a hostile environment, just having fun and playing the brand of football that we know how to play. And it really was fun. Coming in here, first time for a lot of us, and just playing well. And walking out here with the win is really awesome.
Peyton, you've been through a lot of ups and downs. What's it mean to you personally to come into a place like Nebraska, get a win that's so big for this program, for yourself as well?
Sure, I mean, it's emotional. Just continuing to prep. Every single week, like I'm going to be the guy, and I've said it over and over to you guys. And very emotional, awesome. Awesome for those guys in the locker room because it's a great group, it's a special group.
Peyton, last week the defense finished. This week it was the offense. Just how big and what do you contribute to Stevie and the offensive line grinding out those last few first downs to kill the clock?
Yeah, I mean, we've made that a point of emphasis back in fall camp that when the game gets toward the end, we got to grind out a first down or two, and we got to do it. And we got to a 2nd and 3, I think, and that was the game. We had to get a first down and picked it up on the very next drive. Just playing complementary football with the defense, getting a big 4th down stop for us was huge, and just having their backs, getting the first down so they didn't have to go back out on the field.
It seems like the last month, the rushing game in the second halves has kind of taken over.
Yeah, and I think that's a credit to how well we threw the ball and kind of spread them out, and then just kind of open up those lanes for Stevie to get in there. So credit to the entire team. Just continuing to push the 4-quarter game like we knew it was going to be, and just taking what they gave us every single play, one play at a time, and trying to get the job done.
What's your thoughts on Wop and the way he plays, and really the way he's played like the last month or so?
Yeah, I mean it's so inspiring to watch. He's such a tough little dude. He's a fun guy to throw the ball to because he's going to get you yards after the catch. He's tough. Just a fun guy to be a teammate with. And I think a lot of us are truly inspired by the way Wop plays.
Peyton, you had so many big 3rd downs to him. Were you looking for him in those situations to make a play?
I think there's times where we try to dial it up and get one of our best, quicker, shiftier guys a one-on-one matchup. But sometimes it was just the look that we were getting, and they just they left Wop on an island, and I just did my best to try to take advantage of that.
Did you see anything different from Nebraska's defense on film that you've seen on the field today?
They didn't do a whole lot different, no. And that's a credit to our coaches for kind of getting us prepped. They maybe mixed something up here and there, front, a blitz here and there, but for the most part we didn't see anything too different. So we just kind of rolled with the game plan, and in the end it worked out for us.
You had a pretty long scramble to kind of seal it and ice it. What do you remember from that play?
I mean, I just got out of the pocket. I had a chance maybe to hit Wop. Wanted to keep the clock rolling if I wasn't going to get a first down. So I decided to take off and run. Probably just would have got down and stayed in bounds if I knew I wasn't going to get it, but had a chance to get it and just kind of took off.
After the game, you and your teammates shared a moment with the traveling crowd in the corners. What was it like having that 6th win, like being able to share that on the road with everyone?
Yeah, that's awesome. And being so far from home, being our first time here in Nebraska, it was awesome. These are the reasons why we come to Indiana, play games like that. It was just a fun deal, and we're going to celebrate it.
Peyton, it seemed like this was, I know there's a lot, all big thing against your physical, but it seemed like you really taking some pretty good shots, and maybe took one in the 3rd quarter right in the chest when the guy got you. How are you feeling physically?
He got me pretty good. It just took me, had to come to the sideline. Trainers looked at me, just had to take a couple deep breaths and shake it off. I'll be sore for sure, but that's every week, and I feel good.
That was Peyton Ramsey, of course, and now one of his absolute biggest target all day. 14 catches, 178 yards to Super Wop Failure. Man, what an incredible day he had. That was one of the biggest days in Nebraska's Memorial Stadium history. What a performance. Well, let's hear what this Mr. Chaos had to say.
What does this mean for you and for this team?
It actually means a lot. For the past few years, we haven't went to a bowl game, so it means a lot that we're like bowl eligible right now. So it's a big win for us. Like, we're all happy. You should have seen us in the locker room after the game. Going crazy. Berserk chaos. Straight chaos.
Coach Allen said he had a lot of energy even coming into the game. I mean, what created that for you?
Coach Allen always got energy.
I mean,
that's,
you have energy? Yeah.
Energy. I'm the Energizer Bunny. That's what they call me, the Energizer Bunny. So I always bring energy. I want to uplift the team. I want our standards to be high. You know, I gotta bring us up all the time.
Been through a lot of ups and downs, Wap, with this team. What does a win like this on the road do for you guys? To get eligible, there's so many things. But what does it do for you guys mentally?
Mentally, it just shows us that we can play with anybody right now. Like, we're doing exactly what we wanted to do in the beginning of the season. Like, we're just so happy. Like, I'm so proud of my team right now. Like, I'm so happy. Like,
What'd you guys see coming in from the Nebraska defense that you could have some success against the pass defense and have, you know, a day like this, the whole unit?
We knew they were going to come out and play man against us all day, so we just wanted to execute the plays that we had for this week. So just a big execution week, you know.
Is this different than the Maryland game? You got a little bit more one-on-one?
No, it was kind of the same. We were just executing everywhere. Everybody making plays, so it was opening up for me. I was opening it up for everybody else. It was just a great team win.
Well, you had so many catches on third down. I have to go back and look and see how many. But do you feel like that's where you can kind of excel, is in that, you know, third and long?
Yeah, they look for me on third down. I just want to make a play for my quarterback so we keep the drive going. So I'll be the third down guy. I'll be the first down, second guy. I'll do anything for my team right now.
How about the game Peyton had too?
Peyton played amazing. I'm happy for him. He's a great leader. I knew Peyton has the capability to play like this every week. I'm happy for him. He's a great leader. It's my guy.
The third down he had, the run he had on the last drive, he said he saw you might be open, decided to tuck it and run. Were you open?
I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention, but I'm just happy I'm just happy for Peyton. I'm just happy for him. It's my guy.
Anything you want to share from the chat with Coach?
What chat? I just gotta be more disciplined. I let my emotions get the best of me, so I just gotta be more disciplined.
What were they doing out there?
It was just some football. We're playing football, so everybody's emotions come out there, we're bleeding out our jerseys. So I just gotta be more disciplined.
Okay, thanks.
How did you keep your feet in bounds on that one kind of tap?
I don't know, I just made a play. I let God, I gave God the glory, giving God the glory every game. So he's giving me all these capabilities to do all these things. So I just made a play for my quarterback.
Talk about the performance of this offense. You had a backup quarterback. You have an offensive line that's got half the line missing, plugged in. But you guys come out and you plug in and you get a win on the road.
I don't believe in a backup quarterback. If you're in, you're the starting quarterback. So I'm just happy we came and did what we were supposed to do. So we're just happy we're on top,
Does your energy feed off a big crowd like this? It seems like it's a couple times in a row now.
I don't know. It was kind of louder. This is the loudest stadium I've played in, but we feed off all that energy. So it's not tough. We do this. So this is what we do. 2019 Hoosiers, baby.
Do you think this win is different than some of the other wins you guys have had? The opponent and prestige in the history that Nebraska has?
All wins are big, but this was probably the biggest one because this is a big stadium. Like, everybody, they're against us. So I feel like everyone's a big one, but this was probably a big one because they got us bowl eligible.
You talk about the 2019 Hoosiers, and Coach Allen talked about forgetting the history and all that this is today's team. Yeah. Talk about that. Talk about today's team and what you guys are telling those future recruits that he's talking about.
Oh, we gonna give you everything we got. 2019 Hoosiers. Hey, Jeff. Oh my God. He threw me off. Can you repeat your question?
I'm just asking about you guys. It's Indiana history. Not that they don't really have one in football, but to come out here and play a team, an iconic program like Nebraska. What does that say for this program and the recruits that are looking at Indiana?
I don't really care about their history. We're just focused on it now. Those guys want to play here. They're gonna play. They're gonna come here and play. They see what we're doing right now. So this is gonna just make our culture even better. We're here to change the culture. That's what we're doing right now. We're changing the culture of Indiana 2.0. Indiana 2.0.
All right, one more for what?
He called this your coach called this a breakthrough victory for the program. Do you feel that as you leave here today? Do you feel like that's the case?
Yeah, this is definitely a breakthrough win because everything was stacked against us, underdogs in the game. We don't know why, but it was a big win, So we're out happy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Of course, anytime.
That was Wap Villier, man. He's such a character. Also, Ty Freifogel, what a big catch that he made, and what a year he's having. He continues to be one of the big horses on this offense. Targeted by Peyton Ramsey, I think 4 times, but one of those was a big touchdown. Let's hear what Ty had to say.
Ty, the offense comes through today. Last week it was the defense, but today you guys really, they had you on your heels at times, but you never stopped, and you were down early and came back. Talk about today's performance.
Today we just worked together as a team. I mean, you never know who's going to come up with a big day, offense, defense, it all. You just got to work together, get the job done no matter what.
What do you remember of that one reception, the contested catch that you brought down and kind of helped drive games down the field?
Just got to go up and make a play when it counts the most. Coach Hurd, that's the pressure Coach Hurd puts on us during the week of practice. Just go up and be at your best when it counts the most.
How did it feel to come down?
It felt great because I know it was third and like 14, 15. It just that helped us out right there.
The offense in general seemed to really get going as the game went on. Just kind of, in your opinion, what did Peyton kind of do to make it go for you guys today?
He did a really good job executing, and it starts at practice. He had a real great week of practice because we didn't know who was going to come out and be the starter this week. It just starts out with the O-line. Also, they had a really great day. They've been blocking good. With some injuries we had, freshman Matthew Bedford, he's been stepping up, doing really great.
When the game plan's so pass-heavy, does that give the receivers any confidence that you know you're going to get shots to get the ball and make big plays?
Yes, sir. The way we game plan, just give us a chance anytime, no matter what. We'll try to make the plays.
What was it like out there today with the crowd? It was a huge, I mean, you played at Michigan State, obviously, but a bigger crowd today, a very loud crowd out there. It didn't seem to have a lot of effect on you guys, though.
This was probably the most hostile environment I've played in so far, but we just stuck together as a team, and Coach Allen just preaches when you go into these hostile environments, earmuffs and blindfolders and block everything out, execute your job.
How big of a win do you think this is for the program?
This is a really big win for us because we're getting on a roll. I think we got, 3 straight wins? It's really big for our program to come in this environment and get the job done against this historic football program.
And the big man, the rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. No, just kidding. Al Stallings, man. How about the fumble recovery and he almost had a touchdown. Jamar Johnson. They would talk about this in this piece here, but man, if your man Jamar Johnson just gets in his way, Mr. Stallings has a touchdown. But what an incredible play that was, and a turning point in that game. The defense had been getting gashed, and man, oh man, you talk about perfect timing and a big-time play when Jamar Johnson drills their quarterback and jarred the ball loose, and Stallings picks it up and rumbles down to inside the 10-yard line. But let's hear what the big man had to say.
Damn, dude, thought I forgot one of my lungs at the 50 or something, man. I was tired, but I tried to finish it. I could have got a little block or something at the end.
Did you get on Jamar a little bit?
No,
I ain't
get mad at
just kind of slowing him up just a little bit to give you that extra time?
I said a little something to him, but, that's all right. I forgot about that.
Just how much did the experience of last week finishing out against Maryland help you guys maybe defend great totally against Nebraska?
Well, that's been one of our problems past few years is not finishing. So we've been focusing on that a lot this season.
The coach said that some of you guys heard lots of talk about Nebraska having so much tradition compared to Indiana. I mean, how much did that put a chip on your guys' shoulder?
Really didn't put a chip on our shoulder. We look at every game the same. It doesn't matter who you playing against. Best game.
Alan, your freshman year, you guys went to a bowl game, but you were obviously a freshman, didn't get a ton of playing time now. Senior, what does it mean to you to get back? Obviously, I know you got a lot more to play for, but obviously this is a big win for the program.
It means a lot. It's always been one of my dreams to lead this team to a bowl game. The next step is finish out the season and get a win in the bowl game.
All righty, Mr. Stallings. Man, what a great day these guys had. It was it's always so much fun talking to them after a win. It's just a lot more fun, of course, as you can imagine. But man, the environment, I cannot say it enough. Just that environment, and for them to get that win there, if you're not there, you really can't imagine the feeling that's in the air. It's pretty substantial, but we got a lot more coming up because we've got yet to hear from Tom Allen, and if you haven't heard any of his press conferences, this is the one you want to hear. He is sure Tom Allen like we've never heard before, the raw emotion and everything else, but coming off of that great win. We've got that coming up here next on Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, Located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway, Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moyer. This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Hey, welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Monday, October 28th. Hope your day is going well. Everybody's celebrating as far as Indiana football goes. Big win over Nebraska. Of course, Dawson Garcia was in to visit the basketball facilities, see if they can get a commitment out of this guy. That's something that will be coming sooner rather than later, as he has stated that he wants to get this accomplished by the early signing period, which is in mid-November. So you won't have to wait long. And, of course, there will be the post-visit interviews coming out soon as well. So we'll get all that information for you. But the big talk, man, Indiana over Nebraska this weekend. Tom Allen in his post-game presser was, man, I've seen him emotional plenty of times, but this was a real good one. But let's hear what Coach Allen had to say.
Just first of all, I want to just really congratulate our team and how tough they are, and how much they fight, how hard they play. We were about to play 60 minutes here, and we did. It wasn't pretty all the time. But the grit that our guys showed was tremendous. So proud of our staff. I just feel like our guys just work so hard together. The staff loves each other, enjoys each other. Our players love each other and enjoy each other. It's a special group of guys. And that's why I feel thankful and blessed to be the head coach here and have this opportunity. I know it's a historic win for us in a lot of ways. I'll let Jeff K always update me on how big it really was, but I know it's a big deal. To come here and win and to be able to get that sixth win, which was never our goal. It's still not. You talk to our players, they never talk about that. They actually have bigger goals than that. That's the bare minimum. But I know it's a big deal because it hasn't happened that frequently. But that was never our goal. So I just got to give our guys a ton of credit for fighting. And our defense struggled at times. I got some key takeaways. I got the huge 4th down stop that was big. And then our offense just continues to be highly effective. Peyton Ramsey would come to say, just absolute stud. Tough, gritty, got that key first down with his legs, takes some shots, just finds a way to win games. And that's just who we are. Stevie Scott got some huge yards at the end. We were taking what they were giving us, and we threw the ball pretty effectively, but we ran the ball well when we needed to. So, but at the same time, just can't say enough. We got to do the questions.
Coach, you've been through a few of these big games. We've talked about it, been so close. How does it feel to you personally, and how big is it for this program to come through on the road, no less, at a place like Nebraska?
I'm tired. I got really tired of standing in front of you all, talking how close we are, and being disappointed and trying to figure out how I'm going to, spin it the right way when I know I was just torn up on the inside. So it feels pretty stinking good to stand here and answer your questions after a big-time road win for the Hoosiers. So I don't really care what anybody else thinks. This is awesome. This is big. This means a whole lot to our program. It changes a lot of things with our guys. This team believes. This team is finding ways to win. This team has a lot of character. So we got a few characters as well, but we love them all the same. Just got to keep teaching, keep growing, keep getting better, and best is yet to come.
Coach, last week the defense finished the game. This week it was a few big runs by Stevie Scott and Peyton Ramsey. Peyton said it goes back to fall camp, but just how much credit do you put on the offensive line and the offense for closing out the camp?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, just a ton of credit goes to that offensive line. We even shuffled them up again today. Kind of unexpected thing with Simon not going, and they didn't know that was going to happen, but McKenzie stepped in there and did his job, man. And we lost Coy, and he continues to be a tremendous leader. So that group has really been the mainstay of why I think we're doing what we're doing. You have to run the football at critical times, and there at the end, you can't throw the ball. It's just a whole different kind of psyche you have towards those last 2 minutes of the game. And be able to get those key first downs, and with either Peyton's legs or Stevie's legs, and just the ball security that Stevie has, and just the coaching that Coach Hart gives them. So, yeah, I mean, it's just really neat. This week, the offense got a chance to close it out. And it's a pretty good feeling, though, when you get that last first down, and all you got to do is start kneeling. I mean, I've been on the other end of it, like, well, the one last week, we were just, it's one play, and your heart's just like beating out of your chest. And so I actually got to enjoy the last minute of this one pretty nice. So, but yeah, this is pretty awesome place to play. I've never been here before. Never been to Lincoln, never coached here, never played here, nothing. So it's an awesome crowd, and they're so stinking loud. So, yeah, it was pretty special night.
Hey, Coach, you've been talking about stacking recruiting classes. You've been building. You got young guys who are contributing. You've been talking about the breakthrough. Results like today, is this sort of validation or just something you would point to and say, that's what we want it to look like?
Yeah, well, breakthrough has a lot of different layers and it got a lot of different meanings, but this constitutes breakthrough. There's no question. And I know I took some heat when I came out with that a few years ago, and I believed with my whole heart that we were going to break through year one. I really did. And we were obviously close, but we didn't. I really believed that year two, we were close, and we didn't. And but I didn't quit believing. That's where grit came in, and that became our one word for this year. And sometimes I catch some heat for one words, but those are powerful things, So I really don't care what anybody thinks about our one words, okay? And so those things, they unite us. It gives us tremendous focus. It gives us purpose. It gives us things that we have to have as a team, and things we have to do. And this is, we play a tough division now.
Right.
I mean, we do. And we play a lot of good football teams. And it's tough. I mean, history is what it is. But we're making changes here. And that's what we're selling to recruits. And the bottom line is eventually you have to start doing it on the field. I get that. I'm not, I was born at night, but not last night, And so the bottom line is that you have to show evidence on the field that the breakthrough is actually coming. And it's actually going to happen. And to me, I'm going to get on the phone here. I'm going to talk to calls from recruits myself tonight. I'm going to tell them, did you watch the game? Do you see what we're doing in Indiana? Everything I told you we're doing, what we're going to do, we're doing. We're a young football team. We are, and this was not a pretty game. I mean, there's a lot of things we'll go back and I'll watch it on the plane ride, and I'll be mad about certain things, but we'll learn from it. We had two I thought really dumb mistakes, dumb penalties that cannot happen, but there's some youth there that has to just we got to keep teaching just like your children. You discipline them and you teach them. That's part of parenting and coaching are one and the same. They really are. A lot of the same principles, how you get the same results. So, but yeah, this is a huge thing for us, but it's going to be something we got to build off of. We got to take the momentum and keep rolling, and it's about building something special. And yeah, I mean, it is a process. Anybody that doesn't understand that doesn't understand, where we're coming from and what we're doing. And all you can do is look at this football team and see how we play.
What did you see from preparing for the game from Nebraska's pass defense that you could exploit, and what changed throughout the game, and what could you guys do to be so productive against them?
Well, we felt like we really knew running was going to be hard based on their alignments, their mass, and the strength of their defense. So we kind of, if you notice, we didn't really just ram our heads into the ball to try and force it. We still continued to run the ball. But we felt there were things we could take advantage of in the pass game, and they proved to be true. But you still got to execute. You got to make those catches. We had some really, even that one, the Ty Fry fumble, what a catch. I mean, on a critical situation, just going up and just making tough catches. Peyton Hendershot had a huge catch for a 2-point play. So that you do a good job in the pass game, but you got to, O-line's got to block. They're going to bring pressure. We got a young O-line still. I mean, Matt Bedford's a true from hands. That's how hard it is to play left tackle in this conference as a true freshman. And it's just, and he's not even been a seasoned O-lineman. He's just really, really, really raw in a lot of ways. So, but all those variables come into play, and then obviously we talk about Peyton. But yeah, we felt like we could throw the football, and we were able to. But then as the game comes, you got to adjust, and they do different things, and they start bringing different coverages and pressures, and you got to adapt. But Coach DeBoer does a phenomenal job. He sees it, he's up to the box, he just kind of takes what they give us, and our guys believe in what we're doing, and they executed very, very well again today.
Talk about the job a failure did. I think it's one of the biggest games in the history of this stadium. Really? The afternoon you had today.
Yeah, I didn't realize all that, but I do know that he. But I'm going to tell you this, okay? Sometimes the very thing, this is the life principle, the very thing that makes you special is sometimes the very thing that can be what can hurt you, right? So he's not a very big guy. He plays with a ton of energy and a ton of swagger. And then, I mean, sometimes you just got to I wish I had a muscle, okay? He needs a muscle sometimes, But that energy is what caused him to make plays, okay? So you got to learn it, you got to teach him. And I got to grow. Like, if you noticed during that one, when he had that penalty, I was with him, and I kept holding him. I was not going to let him get away until I got eye to eye, yes, sir, the response I knew I needed to have. And I wasn't going to let go of him, okay? And because he and I have a strong relationship, okay, and he was hot. I mean, but they're doing this, and they're saying this, and they're coming. I said, I don't care what they call you. I don't care about that. So you just have to keep teaching. But that makes him special. I mean, he just has so much energy, and you should have heard him before the game. I was just kind of just relax. He was so determined to come here and prove, because some things were said before, about Indiana, and us playing Nebraska. And because you look at the history, and it's like they're just not the same. Okay? They're just not the same. And so, but our guy took that personal. He was one of them. I mean, he was the leader of the band of all that. But at the same time, I got to kind of temper that little sucker, because he can just get a little bit too much, But once again, that's what makes him who he is. So I just got to channel all that energy in the right direction. That's part of my job. That's how I teach him to become the man I believe he's created to be.
What about the toughness of coming back from 14-3 real early? And it seems like they threw a lot of things at you.
They did. Trick plays. I mean, it was just tempo within the trick plays. I'm just I was kind of trying to figure what happened to the last play, they did another one. And so they kind of got us on our heels, and that's tough, and so I was frustrated, King was frustrated, we're all frustrated, and but I knew that they were trying to get that energy going fast. I knew they had to do that to try and get some momentum going, and I just said, guys, weather the storm, and then let's just go play football. And so that's kind of, and I'll watch the film and see, how we did on all that. But yeah, it was a tough start for us, not the way you want to start on the road.
Coach, going forward, you've got 4 games left, but you're 6-2. You got back-to-back wins, back-to-back Big Ten wins, back-to-back road wins, and a lot left to play for. But what does this win today do for the rest of the season?
Well, a couple things. It continues to build confidence and momentum in what we're doing. just validates all the things that you keep. Because, you keep, because my whole thing is that I try to rephrase things a certain way that's to a point, but you don't just change what I believe in. So the same things I've been telling them 2 years ago and last year, you don't want it to get stale. So when you see the results, just like I said last week, for the defense to be on the field, to be the reason why we win the game was huge. The offense to finish it out this week, and the defense also getting us key stop, and we had to have it. Those build confidence. They do, and it just it makes you practice different. It makes you feel different, and I think you play different, And so, but you got to live it. You got to experience. You can't just talk about it. So I just think these are big, and I'm not going to worry about the other ones. I'm going to worry about. Well, first, I want to enjoy this one tonight, okay? But once that's over, then all we're going to focus on is Northwestern. That's it. I don't care about nothing else. Focus on Northwestern. They're coming to town. I want a huge, huge crowd for this football team. These kids have fought and fought and fought and fought. And I want our fans to come and support this football team. I get it. I understand. Okay? And I understand the frustration of the past, but I don't care. Okay? I haven't been here very long. All right? All I know is what we're doing right now. And come support this football team and help these guys do something special. And that's all I can ask. Because these kids are going to play hard. We ain't going to play perfect. We're going to play really hard. We're going to play for 60 minutes. We're going to find a way to stink and win the football game. And that's what these kids are. That belief is just growing and growing.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys, Elio.
Yeah, there's Coach Tom Allen, man. What a great way to wrap it up here today. But, boy, I'm still getting over the adrenaline from all that from this weekend. But we got a lot more coming up this week, as always. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so that makes it a Chronic Tuesday. Chronic Hoosier will be along. We'll also talk to Nick Baumgart. We'll be talking some IU basketball with Nick tomorrow, so make sure you come back and visit us. But until then, we want to thank everybody that was on the show today. Don Fischer, Mike Schumann. Of course, we heard Peyton Ramsey, Walt Fillier, Alan Stallings, Ty Frapvogel, Tom Allen. Big show today, as always. But that's going to wrap it up. For Jake, I'm Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.